The Noble Qur'an, Arabic text and English translation by Thomas B. Irving. Al-Hajj Ta'alim Ali is probably the translation that you want to get if you're really enamored with classical novels and writings, like that stuff from the 1800s or earlier 1900s. At the end, I don't think we have the full translation of the prayer to end the Qur'an. And it might have been good to use some English in the how to read it section. It does make sense that the listing of the Arabic names for the chapters goes over without translation right on the spot, because you do have the English names listed in the more regular index. There is a value to leaving the translation to basically stand on its own, and almost entirely that's what he did. Of course, the Arabic text is with it, so you can verify side by side. And he actually translates all the words, which most of them don't. Some of them are rather simplified. Like there's a verse in Surah 4, for example, that you got to really translate it 3 different ways to get the full meaning, and arranging that in its size. So things are narrowed down a little bit there. Some issues have been brought up in terms of some terms that are used, or some ways that some things have been phrased, but it's more along the lines of the individual. Now, I understand when it comes to jinn, for example, that calling them sprites, might limit the conception of them to people, just like using the word angel for the malaika. That might broaden it outside of that. And it doesn't use terms like infidel and pagan and heathen, which are virtually entirely inappropriate for translating what the Quran says all over the place, like some of the translations do. It refers to the fact that people associate as if there are deities alongside with God. The general introduction is pretty good. It has the separate per chapter introductions in its own section, rather than with it. Some people would prefer certain bold letters versus others. Different opinions sometimes with an occasional parentheses. But this translation does really hit the note of the fact that the Quran is a literary masterpiece in any language that you render its meanings into, even remotely properly. And this is a particularly easy to understand for the layman sort of translation.